Nahor is one of the two newest characters released following the end of Yeli's banner, and with his full kit and design now revealed, today we'll be breaking down everything you need to know about how he works and how to build him. Current thoughts and testing show that Nahor appears to be a strong control character with a variety of debuff applications, but if you enjoyed today's video or learned something new, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always though, a huge thank you to Etheria Restart for sponsoring today's video, but now without further ado, let's break down everything you need to know about Nahor. At max rank, Nahor's skill 1 is a simple single target hit with a 40% chance to reduce his enemy's defense for 2 turns. There really isn't anything else to this ability. It's a relatively low chance to defense break for 2 turns, so it's somewhat unreliable and probably not insane for what you'd want it to do. Skill 2. At max rank, Nahor's skill 2 is a single target ability that has a 70% chance to dispel all buffs from the target. After that, it also has a 100% chance to inflict 2 turns of block, and this of course is a debuff that prevents the affected enemy from receiving any further buffs. To be clear, usage of the skill before full investment can still be pretty usable as you're going from 50 to 70 in terms of effect chance, and you only need level 3 to change the effect to dispel everything. However, in general, even the 2 buffs that you'd normally strip here are fine too if you're planning on using his skill 2 with no investments. Skill 3. At max rank, Nahor's skill 3 is an AoE strike that has a 70% chance to inflict defense break to all enemies for 2 turns and a 50% chance to freeze all enemies for 1 turn. Now, this is the main selling point of Nahor, as he's one of the only few characters in the game to defense break and also apply a debuff on the same turn. This gives him great value in content like Doki Doki and even Aurora, just as a defense breaker. Now, although Nahor may appear to be well suited for PvE, his real potential lies in PvP due to his AoE freeze ability. As previously mentioned, this makes him a powerful debuffer capable of stopping enemies from taking their turn while also giving your team the chance to deal massive damage. However, similar to Kraken, this is a character with effect chance rates that can be frustrating if you're looking to guarantee a freeze, and to add to this, there is always the chance that enemies take Bulwark, a self-cleansing shell like Alicorn, or they just take a healer who has enough effect resistance to resist and then cleanse the entire team. However, again, he does have pretty good value in PvE. His ability to dispel buffs and apply defense break is especially useful against bosses that eventually reapply immunity, and any character who can remove buffs will always have a role in removing random attack increases or anything else that a boss can throw at you. For transparency's sake, it is worth mentioning, however, that Nahor uses his debuffing skill first before using his strip, and this does ultimately mean that Nahor isn't necessarily suited for the same role as a character like Viper or Holden. Now let's talk about builds. Nahor should be built with as much speed and effect accuracy as possible. To achieve this, you'll use a 12-piece set of Swift Rush along with 6-piece Swift Smite and 8-piece Time Weaver. Together, this maximizes both his speed and effect accuracy, but for his right side gear, you'll ideally want all 3 main stats to be effect accuracy, as you want to ensure he can consistently land his debuffs. But as a side note, if Nahor's speed is less relevant, it could be worthwhile to remove the 12-piece effect from Swift Rush and instead use the 12-piece effect from Time Weaver if you're looking to utilize the cooldown reduction. That said, many current builds of Nahor include using Codex of Magic, and this is typically enough to clear whatever content you choose, as it does give him 2 casts of his skill 3. Being honest, Nahor's kit does make him look amazing for content like Doki Doki or even as a replacement for Kraken. I just personally struggle to recommend him as he does have a lot of glaring weaknesses. In PvE, sure, there are situations where you'll guaranteed always have a stripper or buff remover on your team prior to him taking the turn, but in general, characters like Kazuyo the Reverie and Kraken could likely replace him on a PvE team. To add to this, the ability to defense break is decent, but not always necessary for endgame PvE content, as most bosses have built-in immunity, are immune to defense break, or you simply can't afford to take a defense breaker, since your DPS will need all the buffing and support they can get, especially if their goal is to deal enough damage during said window. As a reminder though, the main standout in Nahor's kit is his freeze and defense break effects, and this can be strong in PvP. However, as a result, he could be a decent pickup if your focus is to avoid having characters like Kraken, Klaus, or even Kazuyo taken away from you during a PvP draft. Ultimately though, if you like his design or want to pull for him, go for it. Just remember, all of this is advice, and at the end of the day, you're more than welcome to do what you like. That's going to be it for today's video though, guys. I'll also include a bit of a snippet including footage and gameplay of Nahor being used. Once again, however, guys, thanks again to Etheria Restart for sponsoring today's video, but without further ado, enjoy.
随我一起入梦吧。看吧，我会为你献上最华美的谢幕。得包扎一下了。
依均衡之命，将台决。
做白日梦也不错。来吧，与我共舞。哇！看吧，我会为你献上最华美的谢幕。走开！
罪孽在此宣判。肃静。